I inherited the word from the old niggas. I used to think nigga was a derogatory term till I met a nigga. So I tell people all the time, you don't know no nigga. You don't know nobody who was born with the word N-I-G-G-E-R on their birth certificate. And when they died, it was N-I-G-G-E-R on their birth certificate. There are still some niggas left today, like my grandmother. She's in the 80s, 84, 85. The old man who taught me about niggas, he's 78 right now. He called himself the last nigga. He was born in 1945. That's where you see 1945 on his ring. You see nigga nation. So we was taught about the African, the slave, the African slave, then the slaves. The slaves was called nigger, and nigger is a bad word. Then you got, from the nigger, you had colored. From colored, you had Negro. From Negro, you had black. From black, you had African American. And then today, you got the niggas and the hip hops. Now, when you say niggas, you got N-I-G-G-A. We niggas, real nigga, street nigga, thug nigga. So we niggas. We could never be a nigger. For one, we don't know how to grow food. We can read, they couldn't, so we could never be a nigger. So for a white person to call us a nigger, it's really a compliment, because those are the greatest people to have ever been born and lived on earth. They're the only human beings on earth who haven't done nothing wrong to nobody, and they got mistreated. They never started a war. Those are the only, and those niggers didn't come from Africa. The Africans who was brought here, the first generation was African slaves. The second generation was African slaves. The third generation was niggers made in America, because they stopped importing slaves into the country, because the world said, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. What did America say? Fuck the world. We go make niggers right here. We're going to make breeding farms. We're going to call them motherfuckers. So there was no longer, so when they started breeding slaves here, these aren't Africans.
Thanks.
These aren't Africans.
Yeah.
These are not indigenous people that was already here. These motherfuckers was made by the white man. And who give them a name? The white man. What was his name? Nigger. It wasn't Bob. It wasn't Jim. You didn't get the slave master's name. See, that's the biggest lie told her. You got your slave master name. Slave master didn't give you no name, nigga. You was nigger. Mark Twain gave us a name. And that's just for my educated niggas who really know about America. Up until Mark Twain wrote the book, Huckleberry Finn, the nigger didn't have a name. Come here, nigga. Die, nigga. Fuck wrong with you. What you looking at, nigga? He didn't have a name.
Yeah, no, that's real.
His mama and them gave him a name. Chicken shit George. Because George knew how to fuck with the chickens on the plantation, so they called him Chicken George. Come here, Chicken George. That's the slave plantation. But when he leave that motherfucking plantation, he a nigger. He can't go to the next plantation and say, my name George, boss. Nigger, you better shut your motherfucking ass up, nigger. So he couldn't say that, right? So those people never had a problem with being a nigger. They was born nigger. They want us, black people of today want us to believe that the people before us had a problem with being called nigger. They had no problem with being called nigger. They just didn't want to be hung and mistreated. The slave who was born into slavery didn't know slavery was, don't know nothing before that, right? So let me stay on topic. So the Africans had a language on their plantations. That's why when you watch the movie Roots, they kept calling Kunta the Geechee man. Come on now, Geechee man. They don't talk to that Geechee man. So the Africans didn't really bond and form with the nigger slaves. They had two different mindsets. The African was conquered and enslaved. The black man showed up and it was slavery. Born. His mother taught him this is the way, you do what he said. So he knew nothing other than to submit to slavery. So those people couldn't read, they couldn't write. So why do we believe that they took the white man's God? They couldn't even read the Bible. So why would we be rejecting their God? They couldn't read the Bible. They couldn't read the Quran. They couldn't read. So they didn't have a religion. But boy, they sung songs and their spirit moved and they looked up at the sky and they talked. Boy, they had a spirit. When Harriet Tubman was escaping, she didn't have no motherfucking paper saying go that way. She didn't know which way. They said, listen, keep the river to the right of you. Keep the sounds of the river to the right and follow that. How much they didn't know? She used to pass out. And wake up, and they be saying, what, Harriet? They heard the dogs barking.
They gone.
Guess what she say? They saying, which way do we go? Go that way. And she was right every time. The spirit leading her. The spirit leading her. Them people that have no book, homie.
You feel like we being misled by the
Like a motherfucker. Woodrow Carter Wilson say it's the miseducation of the Negro, that we're being miseducated. He wrote a whole book about it. So let me stick to the niggas. So the niggas knew how to grow food. The nigga knew when to look at that motherfucking season and that sun and know when to start growing food. The nigga knew how to build houses, but he didn't know the white boy algebra and mathematics. He knew how to fix the tractor. He knew how to fix the plumbing. If the radio broke, he can fix anything in the house, but he can't read English. You know why? He didn't give a damn about that white boy words. He didn't give a damn about reading that white boy word. He just wanted to be left alone. Not beat on, not hung on, not spit on. Left alone and provide for his family where he was. He didn't want to go move up next to Master at the house. He didn't want to sit on the porch and drink tea with Master. He didn't want to do none of that. He didn't believe in Dr. King's dream. That was the Negro with that dream. The Negro said, I want to be white, Daddy. I want to wear a suit. I don't want to wear them ugly coveralls like you, Daddy. Look at your shoes hanging, Daddy. Daddy, I want to put a tie on. So that was the Negro. When the niggas got out of slavery, they went over there and stayed over there. And they put their head down and they worked. They stayed with their family. They was uneducated, but they had land. They had chickens, they had cows, they could eat out their own backyard, they can process their own food. They didn't go to that white man for nothing. The white man used to come buy chicken and bacon from the nigga. White boy used to didn't know how to do nothing. So now, here come Dr. King with his dream. Let's go join them. The nigga said, this little boy crazy. See, y'all gotta go study history. The elder black people who was called nigga did not like Dr. King. That was the foolish thing for you to, why would we go live with our enemy? And they go spit in our food like we used to spit in their food when we was in the kitchen. And why would we go do that, boy?